So as we talked about in grasslands, we learned a little bit about kin selection, where cooperation in groups leads to higher fitness for an individual than that individual trying to do everything on its own. It's very common to see that in harsh environments, and of course deserts are extremely harsh environments, so you won't be surprised to find many desert organisms that show working groups, cooperating groups, and for which kin selection is important.
And one example is shown in this picture. This is a family of meerkats, which are quite often closely related to one another, and they take turns among the members of a troop acting as lookouts or taking care of the young or hunting for food. And as they participate in that group, they are much more likely to survive than a single meerkat would on its own. In episode 6, Attenborough takes you to the Arizona desert and talks about the spadefoot toads that are found there. And while he is describing the reproductive cycle of the spadefoot toads, he talks about the fact that there are two different types of tadpoles. One type is herbivorous, and they graze predominantly on algae. And the other type are carnivorous, and they graze on, they eat other organisms, including other tadpoles.
So why would a species of toad have two different kinds of tadpoles? Well, these guys are found in small pools or even puddles of water that can dry up very quickly. And having two different types of tadpoles means that whether the pond dries up quickly or slowly, there's a good chance for offspring to survive. So that sounds weird, I know, but let me explain it a little bit more. Let's take a look at these carnivorous tadpoles first. Carnivorous tadpoles have an advantage over herbivorous tadpoles if it rains only once and the pond dries out really quickly. Meat is a very nutritious food and easy to digest, so carnivorous tadpoles can grow more quickly. So they'll be able to finish growing up before the pond dries out, whereas herbivorous tadpoles that eat more like a plant-based diet, uh, lower in calories and harder to digest, will not finish their development before the pond dries out.
Deserts are variable. Sometimes it rains once and that's it for many months, and sometimes it rains twice within a short period of time. Herbivorous tadpoles will have an advantage over their carnivorous tadpoles if it rains twice. These are shallow bodies of water, so the second rain is going to make the puddle muddy, and the herbivorous tadpoles can now hide from their predators. So it's going to be harder for the carnivorous tadpoles to find something to eat, and thus they lose their advantage of quick growing. So the herbivorous tadpoles grow slower, but because the pond lasts or the pool lasts for a longer period of time, they have sufficient time to finish development before the pool dries out. And anyone who has not finished developing is going to die when the puddle of water goes away.
So you have this really cool animal that can produce two different types of tadpoles, carnivorous ones and herbivorous ones, but the carnivorous ones tend to eat the herbivorous ones. And so kin selection plays an important role in this toad species, because if a carnivore has a herbivorous brother or sister, you know, if they eat them, that's going to decrease the carnivore's fitness. Turns out that a man named David Finnig studied these tadpoles, and he noticed that sometimes carnivorous tadpoles would start to bite a herbivorous tadpole, but then he would stop, literally just spit them back out again. And when he tested them genetically, he found that the herbivorous tadpoles that carnivores were spitting out were more closely related to the carnivores than herbivorous tadpoles that the carnivorous ones were eating. So there's something about the taste of the herbivorous tadpoles that the carnivores can use to tell their relatives from non-relatives. They'll eat a tadpole that is not related to them, but they spit their siblings out.
So this is kin selection because the carnivorous tadpoles are giving up a meal so that a relative has a better chance of surviving. This is another example where being in a group increases personal fitness, and that is the hunting behavior of Harris hawks. Watch this video. You just need to watch the section that is indicated and see how these Harris hawks working in a group are able to survive better as a group than they would on their own.